We stand with the people of Orlando who have endured a terrible attack on their city.
All I heard was the bang, 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 and I just looked and the person next to me was shot.
This is probably the most difficult day in the history of Orlando.
No one can tell me where my son is.
So everyone is screaming, going out.
This was an act of terror and an act of hate.
And we will not be defined by a hateful shooter. We'll be defined how we support and love each other.
Live pictures now of a community in mourning, a vigil getting underway right now for the 50 lives lost and 53 others hurt in the Pulse nightclub's mass shooting. While the pain felt here in City Beautiful is heartbreaking and deep, we are definitely not alone. Our coverage begins with a nationwide moment of silence, beginning in just a matter of seconds for those who lost their lives too soon to violence. I'm Ginger Gadsden.
Good evening to you. I'm Eric Von Ank, and thanks for being with us on this very difficult Sunday.
And I'm Matt Austin. Now, during the silence, images of the victims, those caught in the chaos, and those who stepped up and helped. Join us and pay respect. A somber day for Orlando with a vow for quick action from the FBI to try and figure out why 29-year-old Omar Mateen would open fire at the Pulse nightclub along South Orange Avenue.
We are learning a lot more about his final moments alive from the FBI, including a call to 911 pledging his allegiance to ISIS.
Also, new information about the weaponry he used, including the guns he purchased just days before the attack. But still, why it happened and who it has impacted. For that, we have team coverage for you tonight. Investigator Erica Washington with families waiting for answers. Mike DeForest digging into this suspect's past, and Amanda Castro live at the hospital where dozens are in surgery, some in grave condition.
Let's begin, though, with News 6's Mike Holfeld near the crime scene with the latest from detectives. Mike.
Matt, good evening, everyone. Deadly intentions, deadly consequences, and now the awful task of removing the dead. It has been a difficult day for us, starting at 2 a.m. until now. Let me set the scene for you with this video, the video we've seen over and over again. It was supposed to be a celebration, Latin night at the Pulse nightclub, Orange Avenue. A little after 2 a.m., FBI investigators say Omar Mateen, with rifle and handgun in tow, opened fire. Bodies, people scrambling. Fast forward to 5 a.m., 11 OPD officers exchanged gunfire, killing Mateen. But his mission of hate was completed. More than 50 men and women dead tonight. The city in a mood of both healing and defiance.
We want the citizens and residents and visitors of Orlando to know that we are committed to their safety. Our officers put themselves in harm's way and risk their lives for the people and patrons at Pulse, and we are committed to do so again.
And we will not be defined by a hateful shooter. We'll be defined how we support and love each other.
Anybody that's thinking about doing something like this in our state, our justice is swift, our penalties are severe. We have a great law enforcement team, and we're going to do the right thing.
FBI agents confirmed to News 6 that Mateen did call 911 and that there was a reference to ISIS and his allegiance to ISIS, a U.S. citizen. But somehow that U.S. citizen turned against us, America. He got guns a few days ago, according to the ATF, and delivered that deadly intentions and the deadly consequences. Ginger, back to you.
So much of this, Mike Holfeld, not making any sense right now. Thank you for that live report.
Now, the investigation into this horrific act stretches nearly 120 miles south of Port St. Lucie. The FBI and law enforcement at this home of the suspected killer, 29-year-old Omar Mateen, We're going to check in with our reporter Troy Campbell in just a few minutes, live at this site with what investigators and detectives are telling us. First, though, investigator Mike DeForest with more on this suspect's past.
Well, Matt, so far we've not found anything that would tie Omar Mateen to Central Florida, so it's still unclear why he drove nearly 2 hours from that home in Fort Pierce to kill people here in Orlando.
The 29-year-old who committed America's deadliest mass shooting had no prior criminal record, but federal authorities have known about Omar Mateen for years.
The FBI first became aware of Mateen in 2013 when he made inflammatory comments to coworkers alleging possible terrorist ties.
Agents say they thoroughly investigated the matter, interviewed Mateen twice, and even spied on him.
Ultimately, we were unable to verify the substance of his comments, and the investigation was closed.
But the following year, the FBI learned Mateen had ties to this fellow Floridian, Moner Abdus Salah, an American citizen who carried out a suicide bombing in Syria.
We determined that contact was minimal and did not constitute a substantive relationship or a threat at that time.
So Mateen was allowed to keep his Florida license, allowing him to work as an armed security guard. According to this newsletter, for at least 5 years, Mateen has been employed by the private security firm G4S, which provides security officers to government buildings and courthouses. Mateen, a U.S. citizen, was born in New York, but he attended middle school and high school in Port St. Lucie, as seen by these yearbook photos obtained by News 6. Mateen's parents are from Afghanistan. In this YouTube video posted last year, his father talks Middle East politics. Mir Sadiq told reporters the Orlando massacre had nothing to do with religion, but instead his son's opposition to homosexuality.
Now, we've spoken to a few of Mateen's former classmates. They say he was a troublemaker in school and occasionally got into fights, but they tell us they never saw any behavior that would lead them to believe he would someday be a mass murderer.
And Mike Mateen had 2 guns, an AR-15 assault rifle, a 9mm handgun, and he purchased those legally, right?
Perfectly legally. We're told he bought them in just the last few days. And even though the FBI acknowledges that it had investigated him twice, he was still allowed to have those guns, still allowed to have that Florida armed security guard license.
All right. Mike DeForest, thank you. Well, now to the victims. What started early this morning as 20 lives lost more than doubled very quickly to 50, making this the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history. And that awful title was announced by Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer during one of the first updates that we got today.
Today we're dealing with something that we never imagined and is unimaginable. Since the last update, we have gotten better access to the building. We have cleared the building, and it is with great sadness that I share we have not 20 but 50 casualties. In addition to the shooter, there are another 53 that are hospitalized.
And Mayor Dyer later announced the city would launch this website, updating the names of those who were killed after their family members had been notified, of course. We're already finding out a lot of the heartbreaking details about several of the victims. Julie Broughton is here now with their stories. Julie.
Eric, we've closely been monitoring this list as names are released, and here's a look at some of those victims. Here's Edward Sotomayor Jr. He's from Sarasota. That's his picture you see right there. And looking at his Facebook page, friends are paying tribute to him today. He was a national brand manager for a travel company that plans gay vacations. He was 34 years old. Here is Stanley Almodovar. He was just 23 years old. He lived in Claremont, and according to his Facebook page, he was from Springfield, Massachusetts. According to his Instagram profile, it looks like he may have worked in the pharmacy industry. And we also just got this picture in the last 20 minutes. This is Juan Guerrero. He was 22 years old. This photo comes from his Instagram page. Here's a look at all the victims' names we've learned so far. Other names include Luis Omar Ocasio Capo. He was 20 years old. Eric Ivan Ortiz Rivera, 36 years old. And Peter Gonzalez Cruz, age 22. Now, we are working to learn more about all of these victims, along with any other names that are released throughout the night. And as soon as we learn more, we will let you know right here on News 6, on clickorlando.com, and on our News 6 mobile app.
All right, Julie, thank you. We will continue to update you on those victims. Already, we're learning help is coming in the form of a GoFundMe account.
Equality Florida launched the site to help the victims, looking for $500,000, and there has already been nearly $400,000 raised.
That money to help the families of the victims and those who are fighting for their lives right now at Orlando Regional Medical Center. And that's where News 6's Amanda Castro is. And Amanda, for a while, the hospital was on lockdown earlier today when we didn't, of course, know exactly what was going on. Any update now from doctors?
Well, Eric, we did just find out within the last hour that the hospital lockdown has been lifted. We are still kind of waiting to get some latest numbers, but what has been reported to us today is that 44 people were admitted here to ORMC after the shooting. We've learned that nine people did die here at the hospital. Now, when we got out here, we saw lots of family and friends rush here trying to get any information on their loved ones. And many of the people we spoke to were actually there last night at the club when the gunman opened fire. Several medical helicopters dropping off victims at ORMC, the Level 1 Trauma Center, taking in 44 people from the Pulse nightclub shooting. The victims suffering assault rifle gunshot wounds to their torso, their arms, legs, and abdomen. Doctors performed 26 operations. We're told 9 people died from their injuries. Families, friends, and loved ones arrived to the hospital, all trying to get any information on the victims. Many were there when Omar Mateen opened fire.
And people were trying to jump on top of him, but he was just shooting everywhere, and we couldn't take that risk, so we were going through the back. But it was horrible. It was a bloodbath. It was terrifying.
Andrew Ullman says he left the club 15 minutes before the shooting started. He tells us 5 of his friends were killed.
They were beautiful people, and they didn't deserve that at all. And I pray that when they go to heaven, that they see everybody that cares for them.
Orlando's first openly gay commissioner, Patty Sheehan, reacting to the horror.
This isn't just a story. These are people, and this is where they died. And, you know, I mean, it's very, very emotional for me and, you know, for this community.
Back out live, you can see the road. Orange Avenue is by the hospital, obviously still blocked off. The lockdown here has been lifted again within the past hour. The hospital is accepting patients into its emergency room, and we're told all operations are back to normal now. Orlando Police is holding steady, saying that there are confirmed 50 people dead from last night's shooting. If you're still trying to figure out information, if you're still trying to figure out if one of your loved ones may be one of those victims, the city has set up a special assistance hotline. That number you're going to want to call is 407-246-4357. Eric?
And with just a few people identified so far, Amanda, you know, a lot of families waiting on word tonight. Thank you. And you saw there Amanda is stationed at ORMC, which right here on this map, it shows it's just a few blocks away from the Pulse nightclub. And it's also just across the street from the Hampton Inn. That's where investigators are urging family members to go and wait for answers. Our Erica Washington continues our live team coverage there with the families that are on standby. Erica, lots of loved ones hoping for some sort of clarity, and in many cases hoping that it won't end the way that they fear.
And Eric, unfortunately, I can tell you a little while ago, a team of doctors walked over here from ORMC into Hampton Inn, met, I'm assuming, with the families, and then family members came out just devastated, crying, holding one another, praying out loud. It was just such an emotional sight to see. Unfortunately, I believe that most likely many of the family members were told that their loved ones didn't make it, and they were told who was in the hospital. Now, we have not confirmed all of the list of people that unfortunately did not make it and passed, but I can tell you from the looks of people that I talked to earlier, I talked to a Natalie who was looking for her 23-year-old baby sister. We had showed her picture a little earlier when I had done an interview, and she came out devastated, crying, sobbing hysterically. So, you know, I didn't obviously want to go up and bother and ask her what happened, but it did not obviously seem good. You know, we did talk to a number of people still coming here, still hopeful. You know, behind me is a bunch, and I'm going to step out of the way, family members still congregating here. Many, I think, just still wanting to be here, wanting to be around the scene, hoping that they'll hear some news momentarily. But at this point, many people are still coming here asking questions. If you take a listen, here's what a couple people had to tell me a little earlier. When did you realize that your brother was missing?
when I get tired of the missing calls this morning and I realized something was wrong. So I get on social media because of the show that we had. I didn't realize none of that. Then when I saw what it was, that's when really reality hits you really, really bad.
My best friend, brother, he was with two friends at the club. They heard the shots. They thought it was the music. Two of them lay down on the floor. I don't know if they was trying to make believe that they was already hit. And they said that when they looked back, they saw Jimmy in a people wall. Seems that the guy stand them all over. I don't know. And when he started shooting, so they start running, but Jimmy couldn't make it.
So you know, did he pass?
I'm sure. I don't have information, but this morning someone ripped my arms out of me. I know he's gone. I'm just here because he's lying there in the floor, and I just want to bring him home.
Everybody responded. Everybody responded that they were okay, except Jimmy and Alex. Finally, when I got in touch with Alex, Alex says, I'm okay, but Jimmy is not. He was left behind.
So at the club, he and his friend left. They couldn't find him.
Couldn't find him. They know that he had fallen because they saw him from a distance, and they were running out. You know, all the running, they were pushing them out that way.
Heard anything from?
No, we haven't heard anything. Not anything yet.
What are they telling you, if anything?
They're not telling us anything yet. They're telling us just to sit and wait.
And how has this wait been?
It's been devastating. Devastating waiting. There's a lot of grief in there. There's a lot of devastation. A lot of Latinas and Latinos in there just waiting for the opportunity to hear something from their loved ones.
How many families would you say are in there?
Well, I couldn't begin to tell you.
It's a lot of people.
A lot of people are in there.
Are they a lot of praying, a lot of crying?
A lot of praying, a lot of crying. There's a lot of chaplains and priests and pastors in there as well.
Again, back live, you're looking, people are interviewing someone that has possibly a family member, but you can see the media is not allowed on Hampton Inn's property, so that's why as family members are coming out, those who choose, who want to share, who want to talk about their loved one, of course, we are stepping in and talking to them. We will be here all night long to give you the latest, but at this point, if you have any questions, you can call that toll-free number that you see at the bottom of the screen, or you, of course, can come down here to Hampton Inn, located right down the street from ORMC. Reporting live in Orange County, Erica Washington. Back to you, Eric.
That is a very tough place right now, Erica, and we got to remember all those people behind you are our friends and neighbors. Thank you. We'll check in with you again.
Yeah, you hear sit and wait. Those are the three toughest words to hear right now. Yeah.
Try telling them that. Yeah.
And as families wait for answers, the community is not waiting to get results.
No, they came out in force. Sky 6 captured the long lines outside this blood bank. Look at that. It wrapped around the center on Michigan Street. The support's so vast. One Blood is now at capacity. They're asking people to come back in the coming days so they can kind of spread out their resources. News 6 reporter Brittany Harris joins us there live. Brittany, what an outpouring of support we saw out there today.
Matt, it has been an incredible day out here. I can't even believe all the support we have seen. As you mentioned, we are over here at One Blood off West Michigan in Orlando, and you can see there are a ton of people behind me in line. This group will be the last of the day to donate blood. As we said, the outpouring of support really has been incredible. Everyone says they want to do their part to help after this unfortunate tragedy.
No negative.
Thousands of people are donating their blood after the mass shooting at Pulse nightclub in Orlando. This was the line at One Blood off West Michigan. It was extremely busy all morning, but now it's calming down. Many people were asked to come back later. One Blood says they want to focus on getting O positive and O negative blood types, as well as AB for plasma. O blood types are universal, so they can be used on anyone in a trauma situation. While we were out at One Blood, we ran into a man who was at the nightclub last night. He heard the gunshots and says he ran out as fast as he could. Sadly, though, he hasn't heard from his friend Chris Summers, who he was with.
It's hard to sit here and know that he had ties to ISIS or had pledged or whatever you want to call it. Like, why take it out on an innocent group of people that did nothing to anybody? I don't get it.
Doesn't make sense. The hospitals are doing okay on blood supplies for right now, but the need for blood donations is still urgent. Anyone interested in donating can make an appointment online. The volunteer efforts out here have been absolutely incredible. People have been bringing cases of water and food, and there are food trucks here and a hot dog stand. Bo Outlaw, a retired Orlando Magic basketball player, was also out here lending a hand. So as you can see, the community is really pulling together during this difficult time. Brittany Harris, News 6.
All right, Brittany Harris, thank you. You can get updates and results, donate blood. We have posted the details, including hours and locations, as well as the number to reach OneBlood. It's on our website. That's clickorlando.com, powered by News 6. You'll find it right there under Top Stories. And these were the very long lines we saw earlier at OneBlood.
Yeah, we're getting new information now. We've been bringing you updates on the names of the victims as we have received them. This is the latest name, Luis S. Velma, 22 years old. And his name has now been added to the 6 names that we knew about earlier, and all of them remarkably young. Edward Sotomayor Jr., 34 years old. Stanley Almodovar III, 23. Luis Omar Ocasio-Capo, 20 years old. Juan Ramon Guerrero, 22. Eric Ivan Ortiz Rivera, 36 years old. And Peter O. Gonzalez Cruz, 22 years old.
All day local, state, and federal leaders have been, of course, keeping us updated. They've been weighing in and they've been offering their support.
Yeah, well, Governor Rick Scott has declared a state of emergency. President Obama talked about the situation at the White House.
Here is some of the president's emotional remarks.
As a country, we will be there for the people of Orlando today, tomorrow, and for all the days to come. We also express our profound gratitude to all the police and first responders who rushed to harm's way. Their courage and professionalism saved lives and kept the carnage from being even worse. It's the kind of sacrifice that our law enforcement professionals make every single day for all of us, and we can never thank them enough.
Now, the president also described the gunman as, quote, a person filled with hatred. He says federal investigators are working to learn more about his ties to terrorist groups. Meantime, there has been a lot of response to this mass shooting from around the world today. That includes the Vatican. A statement issued this afternoon reads in part, quote, the terrible massacre that has taken place in Orlando with its dreadfully high number of victims has caused in Pope Francis and all of us the deepest feelings of horror and condemnation. Pope Francis joins the families of the victims and all of the injured in prayer and in compassion. And back here in Orlando, local and state leaders have also talked about Central Florida's incredible resolve as we deal with this horrific tragedy.
This state is going to be defined as a state of generosity, a state of love. We are a resilient state. We love people in our state, and we're going to continue to do that.
I also want to take this opportunity to thank all of the outpouring of support, not only from local law enforcement. We've had multiple sheriffs from different counties respond, different police chiefs. Everyone in Central Florida has reached out to us, but also I want to thank the businesses in this area. They have all stepped forward to assist law enforcement with food, with water, so we really do appreciate that.
You can get a closer look at the response to the mass shooting on clickorlando.com, powered by News 6. We'll continue to keep you updated as new information comes in, that is for sure. Congressman Mica says he's asking tough questions tonight, including how did Omar Mateen slip through the cracks if the FBI was keeping tabs on him?
And Micah also said that he's been asking for more money from the feds for months now to protect Central Florida and its so-called soft targets, places like the theme parks and sports stadiums. But he says the Department of Homeland Security didn't think the risk of an attack was high.
I'm turning my attention to how this could have happened, and I'm asking some pointed questions already today.
Congressman John Mica says he was afraid of something like this.
Oh, my God.
A terrorist attack on Central Florida. He said so in this letter he wrote back in January to the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security after Orlando's police chief and Orange County sheriff asked him for help.
They came to me and said, we've been taken off the DHS list, the Department of Homeland Security list, for extra resources. There's an urban security program, and they whacked Orlando. We've been fighting together, and we got rejected again in January. I've been appealing, along with several other members of Congress, that we get the resources we need. We may be a soft target, but we've seen that we are a target, and we were concerned because we have so many tourists.
Mica first wrote Homeland Security after it downgraded the risk of an attack on Central Florida and at the same time downgraded federal funding to pay for local security programs like intelligence, search and rescue, hazardous materials, explosives, and training exercises to respond to an attack. Mica wrote in his letter, quote, Central Florida is a target of opportunity and vulnerable to all types of terrorist activities. If Central Florida became a target, it would be a national disaster.
They denied us those resources. I want those resources in our community. Maybe we could have had the extra patrols. Maybe we could have had the extra resources.
Emailed the Department of Homeland Security to ask about Micah's letter you saw in the story. I also called the press office. It went to voicemail. It is a Sunday. I will keep following up with them until I get an answer.
He was in the studio live with us earlier today, and you could feel the anger when he talked about how he had been pressing them to get help. And that letter was dated January.
It was January 17th, and it was chilling. The words now, you heard the words as I read them from the letter.
And you have to wonder if this is going to change protocols in the future. You know, this guy was investigated by the FBI twice in the last 5 years on 2 separate occasions, yet just a matter of days ago he was able to buy these 2 guns. And those could possibly be the ones he used.
And already, Mica said he had asked for help from the feds 2 times, and he says he's going back for a 3rd.
Yes, and he was concerned in his letter, like I said, about specifically areas where tourists visit. He didn't see this coming, but no one did. That's the point.
It's almost eerie.
That's the point.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks, Eric.
Well, we want to get back out to Mike Holtfeld now, who is live, who has more on this investigation now. And Mike, you asked the FBI, this is what we were just talking about with Ginger and Matt here, you asked them what they knew about Mateen before today.
Well, that's right. Good evening, everyone. Mateen was not on the Homeland Security list in 2016. That's the punchline to the story, as Congressman Mica alluded to, as Eric was just discussing. But the FBI was focusing on this guy. He had their attention, not once but twice, 2013, 2014. And then, believe it or not, 2 weeks ago, he's able to get those weapons. According to the FTF, quoting now, he bought a couple of weapons. Just like that. He wouldn't tell me what store, but here's a guy that was being interviewed by the FBI, and he has access to the weapons. And those weapons probably used in the deadly results that left all those lives lost. So the question is, why did he do it? Let's begin with the FBI. We talked about the 911 call, and it's confirmed. Sir, does that mean the 911 report is inaccurate at this point?
There were 911 calls in which there was conversation between the subject and law enforcement representatives of 911 dispatchers. That has become federal evidence. Was there a declaration of allegiance to anyone, or can you share that with us? It's my understanding, I have not personally listened to him, but it was general to the Islamic State.
What's your take on that, sir? A nightclub, people there having fun, and Senator, you know what happened. We have 50 people dead at least.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. These people had plans today. They were planning to be somewhere today, and they're not going to get there. And others who were injured that are not going to get there. The human cost of it is extraordinary. I think it's the single largest mass killing in American history.
Do we need to step up the vetting process? I mean, this guy worked at GNC. He was a
I don't know all
guard.
I don't know all the details behind what, but that's why the homegrown violent extremist is so difficult. You can't predict what they're going to do. Background checks tell you what someone has done in the past. They can't predict what they might do in the future. This is an individual that the FBI was aware of and looked into and monitored and didn't find actionable. And I can tell you that there are hundreds of cases like this all across the country.
Yeah, Mike, it's unfathomable for me. I tell you, my office is right across the street. I drive by the Pulse every day. And I'm standing here with you in the street, and it's just a surreal experience. We're knowing that there's still people that I think they're still removing bodies from the building, so hard to fathom.
Breaking news alert.
Good morning, I'm Nadine Yanis. We're following breaking news right now in Orange County, where Orlando police have confirmed there's been a shooting in downtown Orlando at the Pulse nightclub. That's on Orange Avenue and Cayley Avenue. Right now, we're hearing reports that several people were hurt. Let's get right out to News 6's Eric Sandoval with the latest. Eric, tell me, what are you seeing out there?
Well, Nadine, I want to give you a little perspective about where we are. A bus is blocking our view right now, but we are immediately across the street from the emergency room here at Orlando Regional Medical Center, right along Orange Avenue. And I want you to see what is going on behind me. This is looking south on Orange Avenue. You can see a very heavy police presence here right now. This is all outside the Pulse nightclub. Whoa, and we just heard a loud boom coming from just south of our location here. We don't know what that boom was, but I think you saw everybody react. We don't know what that was right now. I'll tell you what, we want to work on what's going on right now, but I want to tell you, this is a very intense situation right now. There is still a gunman on the loose right now. Orlando police is giving us very tiny updates via Twitter. They were planning a news conference just about half an hour ago. They had to cancel that because of the massive search. There's more police going down Orange Avenue right now. I'll tell you what, we want to figure out what exactly is happening right now. We want to get on the horn with OPD and figure out what's happening, but let me just tell you, there is a gunmen on the loose here in the area of Orange Avenue, Cayley Avenue, Miller Avenue, Gore Avenue. This immediate area is shut down right now. OPD says if you don't have to come to this area, please don't, because it's a very, very dangerous situation.
I want to take you right now to the story that is taking the nation's attention at the moment. If you look on Twitter or social media right now, Curry Ford Road and Goldenrod, right here in Orlando. This is where two bald eagles are in a storm drain. We're hearing one is hurt, presumably the one underneath, and it looks like the one on top is protecting it. FWC is on the way. Let's check in with Dave Sprung in Sky 6, who has been watching this situation since it started. Dave, how long have these two eagles been like this, by the way?
Well, they've had to be here before we got here, so at least 10 to 15 minutes before we got here. We've probably been here now for a good 35, 40 minutes, so almost an hour, I would say. It's hard to judge that, but I can tell you from the time we got here, I have seen absolutely no movement from either one of the eagles. Maybe a little bit of a head movement from the eagle that's underneath, but the one on top is very stoic, not moving, very protective. It's heartfelt to see something like this happen, that the eagle's partner is there for it through thick and thin. It's not going to move. It's going to stay there no matter what to make sure its partner does not get hurt anymore. And the good news is the whole area is cordoned off. Nobody can get to the eagles, as you can see here. They are being left alone. They are being watched and protected, waiting for FWC to show up. As you can see, it is getting a little bit darker out, so the picture is going to start getting darker as we go on with this. Hopefully they'll put some lights around, not directly on the eagles, but at least in the area, so we can actually see the rescue and what's going to happen. But we are waiting for FWC to show up. I'm starting to see some movement here. Maybe somebody's showing up. I don't see FWC. No, that's not their pickup truck. But as you can see, they're still right around the eagle. They're not letting anybody around it, and it doesn't look like anybody's trying to. They're staying around the eagles. They're watching in wonder. This is not something that you see every day. You might see an eagle flying in the air every now and again. It's not even, you don't even see that every day. So to witness this is an amazing, amazing thing to see. Matt, Julie?
Not only do you not see this every day, I've never seen this in my life or on television or anywhere else. It is quite an amazing sight happening just right there over on the east side of Orlando.
All right, Dave, thank you. And we've gotten in touch with people from the Audubon Center for Birds of Prey. And joining us now on the phone is Diana Flint. And Diana, thank you for joining us. I'm sure you've been watching this play. Just really incredible to see. What is your take on what's happening here?
Well, I haven't seen a thing. I'm just got home from work, and
got a call that there's eagles down, and I'm on my way there now.
Okay. What we're seeing 2 eagles stuck in a storm drain. It appears that one is protecting the other. We're told by Orange County Fire.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? What do you think could be
Give us some
happening?
analysis here, because that's what what it looks like.
We need an expert. So
this is an eagle season, so it's nesting season for bald eagles. And what's going on is eagles are coming back into territories, and sometimes other eagles come into not their territory, and they're going to protect their territory. And so what we have is a fight going on, and they fight unbelievably to the battle, and hopefully not to the death. Our job is to try to rescue them, rehabilitate them, and get them healthy again and get them back out there so they can fight another day.
Okay, so what we have been telling people is a love scene here, and magical is possibly a fight to the death. I'm a little embarrassed, but I'm very fascinated by this.
It's something you've never seen.
Yeah, I haven't. And the strange thing is, I know you can't see the picture, but they don't appear to be pecking at each other or hurting each other. The one is just literally wings spread out completely, laying on top of the other eagle. And that sounds like a fight?
Yes.
Really? This is fascinating.
Absolutely.
Here we go with the radar echoes that you want to see. There's the eye wall. There's Grand Bahama Island. It's well north of there now as it continues its march towards us. Down below 90 miles. It's marching in here pretty quickly. It's 10:45 at night. We're about to pick up a brand new track for this storm system. But really, with radar lock on it, we can watch it come on in. We know exactly, or just about precisely, the route that it's taking toward us here in Brevard County, and then spraying up the county line into Volusia County as the day wears on tomorrow. Heaviest rain across the interior right now extends from Daytona Beach just to the north side of Daytona, where it's raining from Holly Hill all the way down the I-4 corridor. Here's Orange City, Deltona, DeBerry getting rain right now. Farther to the west, you cruise on into Wekiva. Seminole Springs, big rain too. And the activity back out west from Howey in the Hills all the way down to Ocoee. Windermere, it has not totally stopped raining, but it's down to like level 1. Might be some light mist for you there for a while. So now's a good time to try to maybe calm things down, take a nap yourselves before the wicked wind wakes you up during the overnight. When you wake up, turn on the television set, and we will all be here at News 6. Tell me, are you on the back side of your house, on the southern side somehow?
Actually, no. That's what, I've been listening to you for years, and, yeah, I'm on the south side of my house.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as the
north side. The north
side.
Yeah.
And see the lightning, wow, big time lightning out here. Like,
okay, Cindy, you're
we're getting a gust right now. We're getting a gust right now, and it's definitely, coming in
Cindy,
now.
get inside.
Yeah.
Please stop.
Okay, I'm inside.
Do you have children who are sleeping or something? Get inside. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I have an 11-year-old sleeping. I'm inside. Close the door, I promise.
Okay, anytime you can see the lightning, you have to worry about it. But if you can hear it, especially over this wind, it's close. Get inside.
I just want to take you into our newsroom right now, where our Talk to Tom phone bank is going on. 888-436-6665. We'd love to hear from you. And it's not just talking to Tom. As we pan out here, we can see we have a whole panel of, we've got Kirsten answering phones, Amy Biondello. If you have any traffic questions, I know Justin Warmoth's been stopping in there, which might make your teenage daughter reach for the phone. But we definitely have a lot of people. Danny Trainer's been in there, who is like an encyclopedia for the weather, but and they're kind of filtering through the calls, and some of you, if you call in, you'll get to talk to Tom Sorrells on the air, which is certainly a treat.
And he's had some really good questions with people, and even having to tell some people to get inside.
I don't know what to tell you guys. You can see what's happening right now. I'm holding myself up against the wall as the water and wind comes in from the ocean. We've lost, I can't see you because of this bright light. We've lost almost all the signs here. 2 of them are falling, the other 2 have fallen. Surprisingly, there are still lights. Surprisingly, I haven't seen any lights go out anywhere. Hard to imagine with winds like this that we haven't lost power anywhere. Very strong. There a lot of rain. Or I don't even know if it's rain at this point or if it's just coming from the ocean water. But definitely not something that you would want to be driving in or being in. As soon as I go onto the other side of the wall, I know sometimes people are concerned about us and our safety as well. As soon as I go to the other side of this wall, then I'm safe from the wind. So I'm doing this just to show you what it's like. I'm not sure what the miles per hour are, but enough that if I wasn't standing in this way, that it would kick me over. I'm going to send it back to you guys. If you have, I'm going to...
Seychelle, get to safety right now.
Here's the pier. Here's Sunglow Pier. We were talking about that earlier. 60 feet of that pier gone into the water. You see one of those pilings right there, but don't worry, guys. Krabby Joe's, that awesome restaurant, that's still there, but a big chunk of the pier is gone. Let's go straight to video because the pier was all there yesterday when you saw the rough waves coming in and everything. This morning, my photographer, Jeff Seegers, and I took a drive all throughout Daytona Beach shores, and got some of that damage you're seeing now. We were talking about those gas stations. The gas stations ripped off, into the street, just nothing but the pumps. We saw the canopies, that's from Sunsplash Park. Those are completely gone. The strong winds, the trees uprooted, you were talking about that. That's to blame for a lot of the water problems we're having. Just a lot of damage everywhere, homes too, the ripped roofs. But back out here live, I'm going to also show you what else the storm has done. Look at the seawall. Knocked it off, and this is, look how sturdy. Well, not so sturdy anymore, but just clean right off. And this is the back of Pirates Cove where we've been camping out because it's a safe building area. And I spoke with the maintenance guy not too long ago. He's not too happy because he's going to have to fix all of this damage. He says all of their solar panels gone. The water problems right there, gone. The stairs over here, gone. He's going to have to fix a lot of stuff. The fence up there, I don't know if you can pan up there. The glass over here, gone.
1 month ago, this was one of the first faces of the tragedy as it unfolded. A young man by the name of Chris. He was in Pulse that night and helped carry the wounded to safety. Tonight, he returned to Pulse for the first time. Our Seychelle Saunders was there.
We did not ask Chris to come here tonight. We knew the pain was still fresh. It still hits people every time they visit this place. But Chris said that this was part of his healing process, and he hoped that his public healing would help others. Before we could even turn the corner.
Yep, I see it. All right.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Chris Hansen could feel the energy radiating from Pulse, but he kept walking.
Oh.
What about measured breaths in awe?
It's beautiful. It's heartbreaking.
And then it starts rushing back.
I am a little shook up being back here. Seeing this, I didn't expect that this would be a turnout, but facing my fear, I guess, is the best thing that I can do at this point right now to try to heal.
This moment, bloody from the wounds of others, Hansen carried victims to safety. It has haunted him every day since. Emotions flooding in.
I thought I was ready. I'm sorry.
No. If you want to walk, you need to walk away.
And the emotions and everything that's set behind this is real. I'm bringing it back. I can feel the emotions. I don't know if I'm ready.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. The cards, the flowers, the place where 49 souls took final breaths. Too much. And then Hansen remembers his purpose, that it wasn't by chance that he chose Pulse that night.
Just thankful that I'm alive. I was thankful I was able to help other people, to help reunite the families and the friends.
And that this isn't in vain, that those lives lost will teach people how to live again, how to love without restriction.
I have that extra day, or I have more time to rekindle and rebuild a relationship and focus on the situations that were bad, to clear the slate. And this has helped me realize that life is short and we never know when our last moment of breath is going to be.
Seychelle Saunders, News 6.
Wow. Our coverage continues on clickorlando.com. You can watch our one-on-one interview with Police Chief John Mica, plus see why the victims are still waiting for financial help.
Tonight, a surge is underway. It's putting additional law enforcement officers inside Walt Disney World.
A News 6 investigation reveals a record amount of money is being spent to hire sheriff's deputies to patrol the resort. News 6 investigator Mike DeForest is breaking this story tonight. He's live at Disney. Mike, how many deputies actually work at Disney right now?
Well, Ginger, Walt Disney World and sheriff's officials are not revealing that specific number. After all, nobody wants to tip off the bad guys. But I've been going through these financial records. They reveal unprecedented spending on those sheriff's deputies. Visitors arriving at Walt Disney World's theme parks by tram or by monorail can expect to encounter more and more law enforcement. For decades, the government that oversees Disney's property, the Reedy Creek Improvement District, has hired off-duty Orange County Sheriff's deputies to patrol the resort. But now, records obtained by News 6 show that outside police force is expanding in a big way. From 2011 to 2016, Reedy Creek budgeted about $1.5 million a year for off-duty deputies. In 2017, that funding will skyrocket to $5.6 million. That's nearly 4 times what Reedy Creek spent on off-duty deputies prior to the attack on Orlando's Pulse nightclub. Disney officials are not saying that the Pulse massacre and other recent terror attacks prompted the record surge in funding for extra deputies, but many theme park visitors appreciate it.
Whether it's real or just a perceived peace of mind, I think that maybe it can make people feel a little bit more comfortable.
Besides the added money for off-duty deputies, Reedy Creek has a separate $8 million contract with the Orange County Sheriff's Office. That agreement pays for deputies and supervisors to staff this new Orange County Sheriff's Office substation located on Disney property, while also ensuring dozens of additional law enforcement officers are deployed around the resort. Those deputies primarily look for shoplifters, write speeding tickets, and assist Disney's civilian security guards. But the sheriff also knows someone might show up here intending to cause serious harm, a concern he recently expressed to Congress.
One credible attack in Central Florida to a theme park will be disastrous for our economy.
Shortly before gunman Omar Mateen opened fire inside the Pulse nightclub, he scoped out parts of Walt Disney World, according to Congressman Mica.
Disney, Universal, all our major theme parks are not the problem. They have excellent security, the best protections for their guests.
Mica says he's comfortable with what law enforcement is doing to protect local attractions. He's more concerned terrorists may go after other, less secure parts of Central Florida.
They're looking for soft targets. They found one in the Pulse. We can't let that happen again.
Reedy Creek plans to spend a total of nearly $14 million in the coming year on outside law enforcement. That's about the same budget as the entire Winter Park Police Department. Now, keep in mind, we have only been talking about Reedy Creek government. The Walt Disney Company here also hires its own deputies to patrol the resort, but since the company's budget is private, we don't know how much they plan to spend in the coming year. Ginger and Matt?
It sounds like we're talking about a lot of money, though. But, Mike, another big theme park in town is Universal. Do we know what their hiring situation is?
Well, Ginger, like Disney, Universal's budget is also private. I have been looking into it, though, and compared to this time last year, Universal's budget increased, or its spending on off-duty Orlando police officers, it has increased by about 14%.
Well, tonight, the world is mourning the loss of a king. Legendary golfer Arnold Palmer.
Yeah, but Central Florida has lost one of the most generous philanthropists ever, a man who built 2 hospitals in his name and his wife's name to care for moms and their kids. News 6's Eric Von Anken begins our team coverage tonight. He is live at Arnold Palmer Hospital in downtown Orlando. And Eric, you talked with a doctor who was there the day Palmer decided to build a hospital.
And Ginger, there are different versions of this story. Palmer says that he was harsh and direct and firm. The way the doctor, though, tells it, he says Palmer was kind but passionate.
The day you met Arnold Palmer, do you remember more or less what he said to you when he looked around that hospital?
We talked to him about
the dream of having a children's hospital, and he said we could do better and we'll do better.
Dr. Gregor Alexander, the man who helped start the neonatal unit here, remembers the first time 3 decades ago when Arnold Palmer and his wife walked into the unit, much smaller at the time, and before the Palmers agreed to put their name on it.
He wanted to be sure that his name was going to be associated with the best of the best children's hospital.
Palmer, the last time we spoke with him, told us he was skeptical at the time.
Well, you're being kind, because my words were really stronger than that at the time, and I wasn't sure that we were going to accomplish anything, but I let it be known that I thought it was pretty poorly handled.
I can't believe that he will say that, because where we were in a closet, basically, and almost like a closet, a very small room, very crowded.
These are pictures from those first few meetings. That's Dr. Alexander with the then thicker and darker beard. Palmer told us a hospital board member at the time, the founder of Hubbard Construction, gave him the idea to turn a small, struggling unit into the biggest, busiest children's hospital in the world, Arnold Palmer Hospital for Children, which opened in 1989, and then Winnie Palmer Hospital for Women and Babies in 2006.
And of course, Frank Hubbard, being really a dynamic man and a great guy and a good friend, said, "Well, Arnie, why don't you do something about it?" And I said, "Well, what can I do, Frank?" And he said, "Well, let us name the hospital the Arnold Palmer Hospital."
Which he did, as you see, but only if the hospital would be the best of the best. These hospitals, this one and the one across the street, have since touched millions of lives. And coming up at 6 o'clock, when I see you again, Ginger, you will meet a family, one of many, now connected to these hospitals forever, even though they never ever met Arnold Palmer.
Yeah. So many people owe him a debt of gratitude. Eric Von Inken reporting live for us. Thank you, Eric. If you have a pet, you know they aren't just another member of your family. In fact, I have a hard time leaving my dog when I just come here to work. Yeah.
That's all she talks about.
So imagine the thought of leaving them alone for days.
So I got an email from a woman who was facing that very decision. She desperately needed surgery, but was putting it off because she had no one to take care of her pets. That's when a chance encounter changed everything. At the Brandywine WinnDixie in DeLand,
it's a good store to work at.
they're proud of their deals.
We don't want to disappoint anybody when they come in.
But service manager Chris Prue,
service with a smile,
gives those values.
Do whatever it takes.
A whole new meaning.
Absolutely.
You see, he's used to chipping in and lending a helping hand.
All right. It's all about service.
But it's what he did for a customer he barely knew that surprised even her.
That was a shocker for me.
Sharon Elliott has shopped there for years.
This is going to be a scarf.
But it was one of her last visits and a chance encounter with Prue.
Get engrossed in the crocheting and you forget your pain. And
she says changed her life.
She kind of had a moment of grief, and I asked her what was wrong.
What was wrong? She needed back surgery.
I can't even explain how much pain I was in.
It was a procedure she'd been putting off because she didn't have the help.
I needed the surgery bad.
And she worried about her animals.
3 dogs, 3 cats, and 2 birds. They're family. They're not just animals, they're family.
She said that she needed to have surgery done, but she didn't have anybody that she could rely on. So I told her, even though you don't know me, you know where I work and I see you often, that if I can be of any assistance, I'd be glad to.
She took him up on the offer.
You want to get up here?
He cared for her pets.
She told me who eats when and when they eat and when they go out.
And 3 months later, she's healing slowly.
I'm sorry.
To this day, Prue still stops by to lend a hand.
She asked the right person at the right moment, and it happened.
That's why she nominated him for the Getting Results Award.
All right, I'm going to split up the weight on some of these drinks, okay?
Prue says it was nothing, but for Elliott,
he's just been a godsend.
It made all the difference in the world.
There are still kind-hearted people out there with big hearts.
Good seeing you.
And he's one of them.
Bye now.
Don't you stop crying right now.
Look at that.
No, so many people say it when you're going through something, oh, I'll do anything I can to help. That guy he meant it. Sharon says she's doing much better since the surgery. She's up and moving around. She can take care of her pets. The two each consider each other great friends at this point.
Okay, here's the thing I really love about this story, and I apologize. The fact that she said something, and most people will ask you how you're doing, and before you can even answer, they move on to the next thing. He listened, and then knew that this is something he could help.
And he could tell something was wrong, and he asked in the first place.
Please.
So, what a good guy.
Yeah.
That's what the Getting Results Award's all about.
Okay,
right there.
somebody said I'm falling apart like a cheap suit. Good evening, everyone. You are looking live at beautiful Lake Eola, where thousands have gathered for July 4th festivities, and what a fantastic day it is. Good evening again. Welcome, everyone. This is News 6 at 7, Getting Results. I'm Ginger Gadsden.
I'm Julie Broughton. Happy 4th of July. And I'm Lisa Bell. We are here in the heart of the City Beautiful at Lake Eola Park, getting ready for the 39th annual Fireworks at the Fountain. We have teamed up with the City of Orlando this year, and we are so excited to be here for the One Orlando show. We've been here all afternoon.
Oh my goodness.
It is amazing to see how much the crowds have swelled. Yeah, all afternoon. It's really gorgeous. Lots of stuff going on. We're going to get to all of that throughout the evening. We've got food vendors out here. We have face painters.
Music. Yeah. Do you know something else that has blossomed throughout the day?
What's
the
that?
heat.
Yes,
Yes, it has. But you know what? Typically when we see everyone out with really hot weather, people get a little bit cranky. One thing we've consistently seen today is everyone is in a good mood.
Yes.
People are being patient and kind, so really a great day. Now, you'll notice one person who's not out here with us is Chief Meteorologist Tom Sorrells. He is back in the nice air-conditioned studio. And Tom, I know that you are pinpointing some thunderstorms out there, but so far we are looking great out here.
Yeah, you guys have really lucked out. The people who should have the attitude the most are the people who have to work when it's hot. And today, that's you. Sorry about that. Take a look at what's happening on radar right now.
Back to school time, and it means students in need, they need supplies. So one of our favorite charities needs your help to get results.
Yeah, a gift for teaching already lets teachers pick up free supplies for more than 200,000 students in need in Central Florida, and we want to help them get those supplies.
Yeah, absolutely. So Julie is in our Studio B, where a fundraising phone bank is taking your calls. They've been at it since bright and early this morning, Julie.
Yes, and you know, I just popped over here, and when I walked over, just about everyone was on the phone, but we still have a few more minutes, so you have time to call that number for you once again, 1-888-436-6665. Every single dollar you donate can be turned into $20 worth of school supplies for students. So call right now. Again, that number, 1-888-436-6665. Now, if you donate $50 or more, you will be entered in a drawing to win the News 6 experience. If you're wondering what that is, that means you could come here, get a personal tour of the station, watch a live newscast, and have lunch with some of us here at the station. So that's always a good time. I think somebody wants that News 6 experience. The phones are beginning to ring. Now I'm joined now by Jane Thompson. She is the president for A Gift for Teaching. A great day out here today, and I understand that you guys are marking a big milestone today.
That's right. In fact, this afternoon, while teachers were shopping at A Gift for Teaching's free store, we just gave away our $100 millionth worth of school supplies since we were started in 1998.
Wow. Well, what did that feel like for you guys?
I think it's an incredible, we owe so much, for instance, to your viewers who've supported us so much over the years and made it possible for us to achieve this great milestone. But here's the thing, there's still so much more help that's required. There are 210,000 students who've gone back to school this year without the tools they need to succeed, and that's why this is so important.
And our goal today was $12,000. How are we doing toward that goal?
Well, I have to say we are overwhelmed by the support. We are at nearly $18,000, and this is amazing. Thank you so much.
And this is awesome, but the need never goes away. And you know, my sister's a teacher. So many teachers are spending money out of their own pockets to provide for these kids. So this is something that need never goes away.
Well, and that's right. And it's so important because we're here all year long to support these kids and these teachers to be successful. So thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And again, you can still call. You still have a few minutes left. That number, 1-888-436-6665. So again, guys, we are almost at 18 $50,000. So a great day over here, and I'll see you guys back over in Studio A in just a few minutes.
Wouldn't it be great if we got like $20,000 by the end of the show?
We have 10 more minutes to do that.
Yeah.
So call now. And I do love the fact that it's the teachers who go and actually get the supplies, and they
know
make
what they
sure that it's getting into the hands that really need it.
Nothing's getting wasted though.
Right.
Absolutely.
My passion for life has always been children, and it's just hard when you see children who do without.
We came together as a community. A lot of kids will have a very special Christmas. It is distribution day for the Salvation Army's Angel Tree program, and we are so glad to have you with us this evening. I'm Matt Austin.
And I'm Lisa Bell. It has been a fantastic day here at the South Pole as we have watched hundreds of families come here and collect gifts that they will be able to take home and give to their kids on Christmas morning. We want to go ahead and show you some of the video of really, this shows the generosity from the community. This warehouse was absolutely packed full of gifts early this morning, and as we've been here throughout the day, slowly, one by one, those gifts have left the building.
Quicker than you would think, though.
Absolutely, and we've seen bicycles and all sorts of toys roll out the doors here.
And now you might be looking at an empty room on that time-lapse video, but if you look behind us, you can still see plenty of gifts out there left to give. This is an 11-hour day. Tomorrow's going to be another half day of giving, and in total, 3,450 children will have presents under the tree because of the generosity of you right here in Central Florida.
And you can see some of those volunteers. There's one right there riding a bicycle out from the bike room. You can see the kids' names taped to those bicycles. Those will be the kids who will be receiving those bicycles on Christmas morning. So many special gifts being given out here at the distribution center today. But there was one gift in particular that was very special today, and our very own Ginger Gadsden is standing by with much more on that. Ginger?
Yeah, Lisa and Matt, we're talking about, we showed you a picture a couple of days ago of a little wheelchair, a specialized wheelchair that was for a 2-year-old girl. She has epilepsy. And so today we got the opportunity to see that little girl and her mom see that chair for the first time and see what it means to them. We were able to talk to Major Pamela Morris with the Salvation Army, and she's going to tell you a little bit more about what that chair means to the family and why we do what we do.
So there was a need for a pediatric wheelchair for the precious 2-year-old girl, and there was a need for a bicycle for the teenager to get to school. And I said, absolutely, we got this. And I said, that's what I would have envisioned in my mind. The mother just going and just being amazed at being able to have a chair that fits her child and her child can grow into. And so it was amazing.
Yeah, it was such a special moment to be a part of that. The little girl's name is Isabella, and I got to be there when she was in her chair for the very first time today. And as we wheeled the chair up to her, she's in a chair that doesn't fit her, and it hurts her because it's too big. It's made for a child that's 10 years old. And so when Isabella saw the chair that she was going to get, she actually did a little shimmy, a little dance. And when she sat in that chair for the first time, the look of joy on her face was almost too much to bear, and people just gathered around her and started clapping and cheering because they were so happy for her. She started blowing kisses and people just melted. It was such a beautiful scene, and that's just one of many scenes that played out here throughout the day. I just happened to be a witness to that one, and now you're a witness as well. So if you are wondering what your dollars and what your time have done to help the Salvation Army and the Angel Tree program, I hope you think of Isabella in her specialized wheelchair right now with a big old smile on her face. It makes you feel really good.
What is the location of your emergency?
Multiple patients up to 20.
Are you inside the club? We have a mass casualty incident in downtown.
Are you injured?
June 12th, 2016. The morning will forever live in Orlando's history. What started out as a night of fun for hundreds inside Pulse nightclub behind me soon turned to terror and death. 49 dead, 53 injured. I'm Matt Austin. The stories from that night, sad and tragic, but also inspirational and heroic. The artwork and words that now cover Pulse, all signs of healing and recovery. It hasn't been easy, but we are trying to move forward. In the last 6 months, we've gotten a clearer picture of what happened here, so we're going to revisit that night and tell this story as hard as it may be. You've seen some of these images before, but not like this, all at one time. So we do want to let you know it could be tough to watch at times. But as we look to understand it all, we have to look at where we've been, what we now know about that night, and how it has changed us.
I have those moments where I'm like, oh my God, like this happened to me. Like, why me? Like, why, but after a while, I'm like, you know what? I'm here. I'm still here. And now I have a job, I have to share to the world my story. I have to bring other survivors together, share our story together.
Directly after Pulse, this whole community came together and stood as one. And that really hasn't diminished. It's enlightening to see. It almost brings tears to your eyes when you realize that hasn't gone away.
Certainly no one could have predicted such a tragedy, but when tragedy did strike, our community rallied behind the victims, behind the families, behind our first responders, and it was just so overwhelming.
It's awful Pulse happened. The result, though, was that Pulse brought this entire community together, gay, straight. No matter what ethnicity you are, it brought this entire community together, and it's still together. And I just hope we can hang on to that.
As Central Florida still tries to heal, the word Pulse is at the center of that journey. We've all come to learn how this place became the heart of the local gay community. Opened in 2004 by Barbara Poma and a friend in honor of her brother who died of AIDS, it became a safe haven. We don't yet know what it will become in the future. What we do know is before June 12th, this was a place of pride and special moments.
That night seemed like it was beyond fun. I mean, we had fun. Everyone was just drinking.
And we were so excited. Googled mapped popular clubs in Orlando, and Pulse was the first one to come up.
It was so much fun there. I mean, the experience of Pulse was just one you couldn't compare to any other club here in Orlando.
Living life to the fullest and having a good time and being in our own zone.
The excitement, the adrenaline, drinking, the good times, the laughter here and there, the joy in people's faces. It's just pure fun, pure fun.
When you walked out of the house, you said, where do you want to go? Let's go to Pulse.
And we were having the time of our lives.
It was a place of joy. And on the 12th, that joy was taken away.